Crash course on the China-Russia wars. Why is China number one enemy Russia rather than USA? The relationship between China and Russia has been complex and varied over the years, with periods of cooperation and conflict. Here's a crash course on some of the major wars and conflicts between the two countries. 1. Sino-Russian Border Conflicts, 1652–1689. These were a series of conflicts over the border between China and Russia. They were ultimately resolved by the Treaty of Nerchinsk in 1689, which established the border between the two countries along the Amur River. 2. Boxer Rebellion, 1899–1901. The Boxer Rebellion was a violent uprising against foreign influence in China, including Russian influence. Russian troops were among the foreign forces that were sent to suppress the rebellion. 3. Russo-Japanese War, 1904–1905. This was a conflict between Russia and Japan over control of Korea and Manchuria. China was involved in the conflict as well, as the two sides fought for control of Chinese territory. Japan ultimately emerged victorious. 4. Soviet invasion of Xinjiang, 1934. In 1934, the Soviet Union invaded Xinjiang, a region in northwest China, and set up a puppet government. The Chinese government protested, but was unable to resist the Soviet advance. 5. Chinese Civil War, 1945–1949. During the Chinese Civil War, the Soviet Union supported the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, which ultimately emerged victorious and established the People's Republic of China. 6. Border Conflict, 1969. In 1969, China and the Soviet Union engaged in a brief border conflict along the Amur River. The conflict was resolved through negotiations, but tensions between the two countries continued to simmer. 7. Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, 1979–1989. China supported the Afghan Mujahideen in their fight against the Soviet Union, providing them with weapons and training. This conflict had a significant impact on the relationship between China and the Soviet Union. 8. Sino-Soviet border negotiations, 1980s. In the 1980s, China and the Soviet Union engaged in negotiations over their shared border. The negotiations ultimately led to the signing of a series of agreements that helped to stabilize the relationship between the two countries. 9. Collapse of the Soviet Union, 1991. The collapse of the Soviet Union had a profound impact on China's relationship with Russia. China was initially wary of the new Russian government, but the two countries ultimately established a more cooperative relationship in the years that followed. Why is China number one enemy as Russia rather than USA? The relationship between China and Russia is complex and multifaceted, with elements of both cooperation and competition. While China and Russia have formed a strategic partnership in recent years, there are also tensions between the two countries that stem from a range of political, economic, and security issues. One reason that China may be viewed as a more significant threat to Russia than the United States is geographic proximity. China shares a long border with Russia, and the two countries have a history of territorial disputes and border clashes. Russia may see China as a potential security threat, particularly if it continues to expand its military capabilities or assert its influence in the region. Another factor that may contribute to tensions between China and Russia is economic competition. Both countries are major players in the global economy, and they may be vying for influence in key economic sectors such as energy and technology. In addition, Russia may be concerned about China's increasing economic and political influence in Central Asia, a region that Russia has traditionally viewed as part of its sphere of influence. Finally, there may be political and ideological differences between China and Russia that contribute to their uneasy relationship. While both countries have authoritarian governments, they have different approaches to governance and may have different priorities in terms of foreign policy. For example, China has been focused on expanding its global influence through its Belt and Road Initiative, while Russia has been focused on maintaining its regional influence and challenging Western powers. Overall, while Russia may view the United States as a geopolitical rival, China's growing power and influence in the region may make it a more immediate and pressing concern for Russia's security and economic interests. Today, China and Russia continue to have a complex and often uneasy relationship. While they have engaged in some joint military exercises and economic cooperation, there are also ongoing tensions over issues such as territorial disputes and geopolitical influence. Start planning your next global adventure with ease and convenience with our Booking.com referral link. https://www.booking.com/index.html?aid equals 7989335 is a great choice to plan your next trip. You can find and book flights, hotels, cars, and local attractions all in one place, and their price match guarantee ensures you're getting the best deal. Thank you for kind support our Anhub Metaverse channel, and please watch more interesting videos here.